Here we go. First hunt of the season. Getting all fired up. Just got off work. Gonna go put some fuel in the truck. We're gonna head out west of Nebraska, and we're gonna go chase some antelope. Hopefully we can find some. Been talking to the farmer out there, and he really hasn't been seeing too whole lot of antelope running around, which kind of worries me a little bit. He thinks that the last winter that we just had a pretty good size effect on them. So 2 years ago there was just tons of antelope down there, and there was always sightings of antelope everywhere and stuff. So there were some big bucks down there too. That's where I got my buck 2 years ago, was out there. So super cool guy. He offered, or he's letting me to come back and hunt this year. So pretty excited about that. So we got 5.5 hour drive. So we're gonna go top off with some fuel and head out that way and see what happens. Pretty excited. So first hunt of the season. Let's get this on the road. We stopped at this new gas station they just built. It's just crazy how fast they can build things nowadays. They built this gas station in like no time. Really nice gas station. So we just topped off, got some snacks for the road. Got a cheeseburger. I'm hungry. Got us a good old tasty rain here. Love these things. Cherry limeade, probably one of my favorite ones. You gotta get you one of these. These things are so good. Oh, nice and crisp. So my plans anyways for the hunt is I'm gonna drive out there and I'm gonna drive around a couple of the fields and do a little glassing, see if we can spot any. Hopefully we can find at least one or two. So once we find some, I'm gonna mark it on base map, and then I'll remember that exact spot of where they was at. So Friday morning when I wake up, I'm gonna go straight to that spot where I marked it on base map, and then just start hunting that spot. Hopefully they're still in that general area. So that's my plan anyways. I'm gonna drive around, blast, see what's out there. Hopefully we can spot something. And then gonna hunt it early Friday morning, tomorrow morning. Good morning, y'all. It's the next morning out here in western Nebraska. Out here doing a little antelope hunting. I drove around and scouted around yesterday and I didn't see nothing. So kind of get a little worried a little bit. Got a little cool breeze, west wind. It's probably about 60 degrees right now. Nice, cool, clear skies, beautiful morning. Sitting up here on top of this hill, gonna do a little glassing on this hill. 2 years ago, this is where I saw a really big buck. He had about 10 toes with him, so it wasn't gonna be very easy getting to him. So we're gonna sit tight on this hill and do a little glassing. Hopefully get to see something. Beautiful morning though.
That's a good sign. I just spotted an antelope. Just ways over there. Gotta be at least almost a mile over there. Maybe come in closer and maybe we can tag out. I'm gonna get my stuff and then we're gonna head down to this tree line here. It's a pretty good long tree line and it's almost halfway in between me and him, so we're gonna sit there and see if we can get a little bit closer to it, see what happens. Well, I made it to the tree line. Apparently the antelope was on its way to the tree line the same time I was on my way to the tree line. So we basically met at the tree line. So I think we kind of startled both of us at the same time. He ran up on the hill, so I went around the tree line, tried to get in front of him. I got in front of him a little bit and he was standing up on top of the hill, and I looked at him with binoculars, and pretty young little buck, not very high, horns might have been like the same height of his ears, so decent little buck, young buck, just by himself. There hasn't been any antelope out here. That's the only one I've seen like since last night and this morning. So I'm just kind of staying tucked in these trees right now, see if there might be another antelope following behind him or that I haven't seen, and see what happens. Okay, here we go, back at the field again. I'm just got done meeting up with the landowner. We went over some maps and he was showing me the terrain and stuff where he been seeing the antelope today. He's out drilling wheat right now. Super cool guy. Hunted out here 2 years ago with him and he knows his land pretty well. So we went over strategy and some ideas and a game plan, and so we're gonna actually park my truck at an old homestead right now, and we're gonna walk up this cornfield right now, and they're hanging out at the back corner. So I drove by and saw them out there, so we're gonna sneak down this cornfield. I got about 300-400 yard walk through this corn. They're in the back corner back there right now, so this corn ain't very tall, so I'm gonna have to crouch down a little bit because I don't want them seeing my head. Well, just got back from the field, had super close encounter with the antelope. Got like at least 100 yards from him, like kind of crunched down quite a bit and walked all the way up the cornfield. Went up there about at least 400 yards. Long walk, kind of all crunched over a little bit. So I kind of belly crawled a little bit to the edge of the cornfield, just enough so I could see them. And they kind of like played around a little bit, running back and forth, and so they ran back and forth. Something spooked them up there. I don't know if it was a deer or what, but so I kind of hung out there for a while, and they just kind of stayed in that one spot, and they got so close to the corn that I can actually hear the buck grunting, and he was a decent buck. I tried to get some video, but the camera was like focusing on the corn, and I couldn't get it to focus on the antelope. And I didn't want to stand up because they would see me like right away. and so the corn's like super short. It's like belly button high basically on the outside of the cornfield. So I kind of stayed there on my knees quite a ways, at least about 4 or 5 rows in, and there was like a little narrow path that I could have shot if the buck would have walked in front of me. So he didn't. They went back up on the hill. They stayed around in there for at least a good almost probably 2 hours, and all of a sudden something spooked them. They started blowing, and then they ran all across the field. And so then I walked out of the cornfield and walked back up on the hill over here and watched them, and they're like at least 5 fields over, and they're out there in the middle of the field. So gave it my best shot. Really nice buck, big buck too. So yeah, I mean, we got pretty close, really close. Not close enough, but hey, at least we got to see some antelope, and that was a great experience. So that was pretty awesome. I was pretty pumped. I was getting buck fever pretty hard. I started doing some deep breaths there for a while because I was trying to slow my heart rate down because it was about to pump out of my chest. So I was getting pretty excited. Drove down the dirt road and spotted a antelope buck out here by itself. I haven't seen any other antelope, and this is the only one I've seen so far. So hopefully it goes pretty good. I've been laying in this cornfield on the edge of it for the past like 3.5 hours already. Walked through 2 cornfields to get here. There's a wheat stubble in between this cornfield and the sorghum over there, and he's just right in the middle. He's about like 300 or 400 yards away. I can't get video of him right now because I don't want to stick my head out or the camera out or something like that and he's going to see me. So I'm just laying back and chilling and waiting it out. I don't want to rush it because I don't want to blow this out. This is the last afternoon. So, and then this buck is by itself. So hopefully we can tag out tonight and see what happens. Well, that wraps up this weekend of this hunting trip on antelope out here in western Nebraska. Yesterday afternoon, I got so close to a really nice buck. Drove across the dirt road, seen this lone buck out there by itself, and parked my truck about a mile away and walked through the cornfield, walked through 2 cornfields to get to him. And I got pretty close, but I didn't want to like get too close because I had a wind going straight towards him, so he would have heard me going through the corn. So I just kind of stayed put. I laid on the ground and I laid there for like ever. I lost count how many hours I laid there waiting on him. He'll just get up, walk a little ways, lay down, stay there for a while, get up, walk a little bit further, lay down. I mean, he did that like probably at least 5 times. It was just crazy. I almost fell asleep just laying there waiting on him. So then he finally got up and he started walking towards the millet, like completely opposite way where I was sitting. And so he stayed out there in the millet for a little bit, got up to the fence line. I watched him go over under the fence line, and it drops off on the back side, pretty steep. So there's like a alfalfa field back there. So I just grabbed all my stuff. I just grabbed my bow, my arrows, and my camera, and I just took off running. And I left my other cameras back. I just left everything, and I took off running, and it was about like 1,000 yards, and I was out of breath time I got there. So I took off running over there, and there was like a bunch of sunflowers up against the fence line, and so I kind of crouched down a little bit and walked pretty fast to try to get close to him so he wouldn't keep on going further away from me. And once I spotted him, I got up on the hill. He was like looking towards my way, but he never like saw where I was at, and he couldn't make out where I was at or what it was. So that was a good thing. But when I was trying to range him, I think I was ranging the grass or the weeds in front of him, and so I got up a little bit higher and I ranged him, and it was just like crazy far. So I tried to move down a little bit further, and my sights only stop at 80 yards, and so I need to get a further sight pin on my bow. And so I ranged him again, and he was just standing broadside So I just drawed back and aimed a little bit above him, and I held it about middle ways of his body, and so I released the arrow, and I saw the arrow just go barely underneath his body, and it's like, oh man, like that was so close. If I would aimed a little bit higher, I would have definitely hit him. But he was a beautiful buck, and it's been a great weekend, and it's been a lot of fun, great experience, and it's been a blast. It's always a great time to be outdoors and a great time hunting and stuff and seeing the wildlife. I saw quite a few mule deer. They was just too far away to get with the camera, but I mean, other than that, it's been a great weekend. Got to watch some beautiful sunsets and sunrises and God's painting. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned. Thanks, guys.